Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and this is how to make a Resident Evil clone in Unity. Welcome to episode 1. So, this series is going to be all about making a good old school Resident Evil style game. We'll be covering a lot, in fact, pretty much all of the mechanics and visuals and everything you would expect to see in Resident Evil from 0, 1, 2, all the way to Code Veronica. We'll be doing fixed camera angles, but I will also show you how to do a good old over-the-shoulder style as well. So we'll do a bit of a mishmash of pretty much every Resident Evil that there is. So anything you would expect to see in Resident Evil, we will do. And we'll learn as much as humanly possible within Unity to create this, including in-depth coding, quality graphics, and so much more. So this is aimed at absolute beginners. So if you're brand new to Unity, you're not sure what to do, but would love to make a good old Resident Evil game, this is going to be perfect for you. We'll go to a not massively advanced, but we're going to go to a good detail level within this series, and you'll be much more skilled at Unity by the end of it. So I'll be doing user requests through the series as well. So as I said, we're taking inspiration from those early Resident Evil games. So think of, for example, how the Resident Evil REmake looks, and we'll go with that. The style of maybe Code Veronica, the jump scares of 2 and things like that. So, but anything you want to see, please leave a comment below. So this series, I am currently running it in 2018.2. Now, it will work in absolutely any version of Unity, whether it's Unity 5, Unity 2017, 2019, 2020, or if you way in the future, 2025. I can't see 6 years in the future, unfortunately, but it will work because it's the same principle. So as already discussed, it's aimed at absolute beginners. And if you feel you're a little bit more than an absolute beginner, you could probably skip maybe the first 10-15 minutes of this tutorial and get yourself going. So I'll release this series as often as I possibly can. So for all you beginners out there, when you open up Unity for the very first time, you will see something like this window. This is creating a new project. So let's name our project Resident Evil Clone. The template is going to be 3D because we want this to be a 3D environment, not 2D. Unless you want to do that, of course, but that's not Resident Evil. Location, select where you want to save it. Don't worry about any asset packages. Don't worry about analytics. Just click on Create Project. You'll end up with a window similar to this. It's also worth noting that when you're installing Unity, just make sure that you have Unity selected and any extras that you wish to build for. In this case, you've got Android and iOS, but generally most will already be installed. Just keep in mind a note. We'll be using Microsoft Visual Studio for this, but I think by default now it does install anyway, but just make sure you install at least Unity, Visual Studio, and any platforms you want to develop for. So anything you develop in Unity can be built for any supported platform. So this is the Unity layout. This is everything that we need. This is the default. This is de facto. This is what we will deal with. So again, if you have a little bit of knowledge, you probably already know what some of this is. So if you don't, let's start with over here. We have the hierarchy. The hierarchy is where we store all of our game objects. What is a game object? Well, funny you ask that. Here in our scene view, we have 2 objects. These are the game objects. One is a light, one is a camera. However, a game object can be anything that is selectable within this scene. You could have an empty game object, which is a blank object. You could have a model. You could have a cube. You could have a house. Absolutely anything. The hierarchy is where we see all of these in text form, and we're able to select like so. As I touched upon a couple of seconds ago, this is the scene view. The scene view is where we build the game itself, creating each and every little factor of the game. We have the ability to place anything in here, almost anything I should say. Some things do require to be on the game object itself over here. However, as I say, this is where we can build everything manually. And you can see me moving this around now. A couple of mouse controls that we can use. The right mouse button allows us to pivot around on a single position in the scene view. The left mouse button allows us to select things. The middle wheel, obviously, scroll in, scroll out, and if we hold down the middle mouse wheel, we're able to pan around so we can move freely within the scene. Obviously, arrows will move you back and forth, left and right. So they're the basic controls that you would use. There are many other little bits and bobs that you could use, but don't worry about it too much for now. These are just the basics that we'll use. The next one along is the Game tab up here. This is where everything you've built gets rendered for you to physically play inside the engine. There is a difference between what we play in the engine and what we extract out of the engine to create as the final game product, but that's way off in the future for now. When we do play, we would press the play button up here and it will allow us to play whatever we created in the scene. I have a couple more things up here. One's called the Asset Store, one's called Animator. We don't need to worry about them just for now. As the series goes on and we investigate more, these will become more relevant to what we do there. Over here, I have the Inspector panel. The Inspector panel is where we store all stats and data for game objects. So in this case, we have the directional light selected, and we can see here that we have a transform and a light. These are known as components. We're able to add more components and remove components. However, generally, for a light, you're not really going to need much more than a transform, which dictates its position, rotation and scale, and the light component itself, which generates the light. So if we take a look at the transform, we're able to move the position of the X, Y, and Z coordinates. X is represented by red, this arrow here. Y is represented by green, this arrow here. And Z is represented by the blue one, this one. Now we can change these numbers physically by typing, and you'll see that just moved off screen because it moved all the way over here. We can also hover over the letter, hold down left mouse button and move. And you can see that that's moving real time in the scene view. We can reset these by typing 0 and 0. So 0, 0, 0 is the absolute center of any scene. And a scene is actually an asset, which I'll explain in just a moment. Rotation depends on what this rotation is. So for example, we could change the rotation and we can see it changing in the scene again. And once again, change. And you can see that it all affects it real time in the scene view. So I'm going to undo and undo by holding Control and pressing Z. So that resets it back to what it was. Scale is the size of the object. And at this point for a light, the size doesn't particularly matter. There are different things that we can deal with here for the light. However, we won't deal too much in this tutorial. We just want to get the idea of transform. Every every object should have a transform component because the transform dictates basically where it is in the scene. So moving on down here, we have the asset window, primarily project window. So here you can see we have assets and then we have scenes. What is an asset? An asset is anything that you've imported or created yourself within this window. So we can drag and drop anything into here, or we can create anything, i.e. a script or a texture or a material, which we'll be doing in the next tutorial. We have a couple of packages, but we don't need to worry about them just for now. This series will escalate fairly quickly at a certain point, but don't feel that it'll be too difficult for you because it certainly will not. It's actually a lot easier than what you would think. Next along, we have console. The console is where we can see any problems we have, for example, with coding. So when we're coding and we have an error in a line, it will tell us in this console where that error will be, what the error is, and how we can deal with it. Next here I have animation, and by default you may not have that animation tab. Yours may look, if I close that, like this. If you want that animation tab, and you will do at some point because we will be dealing with animation, you need to click on the little menu here And down here we have Add Tab, and you can click on Animation. So obviously the animation gives us the ability to animate objects within Unity itself. So those are the basic windows that we will need. There are a couple of things, like I say, here, there and everywhere that I have that you may not have, like navigation. Please don't worry about them. If we need them, or when we need them, I'll show you exactly how to get them. You don't need to worry too much. So on the basis of that, we can actually move these tabs around. For example, if we take game, we can actually snap this out of this section and make it a standalone object like that. Or we could always snap that down here and the game view would be down here. So this is a great way of customizing your own Unity layout to how you would want it to be. If you're used to some other applications that may not look the same as Unity, but kind of feel that you felt comfortable there, you can move these tabs around into different positions. And should you ever get lost, confused, you can always go to Window, Layouts, and you can change it to any of these or revert to factory settings, which is this right here. So the next thing I want to take a look at is something called build settings. This is important, this step. So in File and Build Settings, we're able to see what we can build for. This platform here, as I said, anything you build in Unity can be built for any supported platform. I'll be doing this for PC, Mac and Linux. If you want to do it for another one, that's completely fine. Just keep in mind that some platforms you will not be able to because they require a license. Now, I'm not going to go into licenses too much, but the general ones that you would want to build for PC, iOS, Android, whatever, you're able to. All you would need to do is click on Switch Platform and it would change it. At the top here we have Scenes in Build. This isn't relevant right now, but this will show you every scene that you have built within Unity. And a good way of explaining scenes, especially in Resident Evil, is if we have, for example, in the original Resident Evil, we have the mansion hall, and then we go through a door, that would take us to a different scene. So it would be a brand new scene that would incorporate itself into another one. So you'd have a flowing method of one scene to another to save memory. And to be fair, it's a pretty good idea. So as I said, anything you build in Unity can be ported to any supported platform. So Unity is very object oriented, but that's not to say there isn't just as much coding, because there is, but the coding is actually a lot simpler if you stop and think about it logically. It's great, honestly, it really is. So let's explore inserting some objects into our scene and see how the scene works properly. So if we go to Game Object and let's go to 3D Object and Cube, we get a cube which isn't right in the center of the screen, but we want it in the center of the screen. So let's go over here to our transform position and go 0, 0, 0. So we've moved it right there. And do you remember earlier when I spoke about scale? Couldn't do it with a light, but we can do it with a cube. And you'll see how relevant it becomes. So let's try and make a big floor to walk on here. So we could always change the number on scale on the X and Z, which is the red and the blue. So we can either drag like that, create a floor that way, or we could manually type it. So let's type 20, 20. So we've manipulated that cube to kind of act a little bit more as a floor rather than just being a cube. And there are other objects that you can bring in, a sphere, cylinder, you name it. There's all kinds of different things. But it's worth noting that Unity is a game engine. It's not a 3D modeling engine. What that means is that you are fairly limited to basics of what you can bring into Unity from the game object menu, but it is fairly easy to obtain better assets. And you'd be amazed what you can actually do with this floor, as it were, rather than just look plain, bland and boring. And that is something that we will do. So on that matter, if we take this directional light and let's slide it up this way. So what I've done there is I've held my left mouse button down on the arrow of this object. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button down and pan up so I can see. And now let's rotate this light on the X and you'll see how the light reacts in the scene. So it's now gone pretty dark. So let's put it about there. And we can also deal with things like shadows, quality settings, and render mode. It's worth putting render mode as important. This may be a little bit more memory intensive in some ways. However, we can utilize a lot of this because we're dealing with so many scenes, or we will be dealing with so many scenes. Also, there are many different ways that you can see what things mean if you hover your mouse over different settings of the component. You can see it gives you a little bit of help. It helps you along. It doesn't think you're stupid. It just helps you a little bit more than what you would need to. So ultimately, Unity is a very versatile engine. And I don't want to feel like this series is going to be slow, because it certainly isn't. Already, if you are brand new to Unity, you've created a floor, you've played with the light, and you've got to grips with how this Unity is laid out. So what I would recommend you do before you carry on is just play around, see what you can come up with, play around the transform, insert new game objects, and just do what you can. And what we'll do before we finish this tutorial is save our scene. So File, Save Scene As, and probably best to save it in the Scenes folder. And let's call this Area 001. We may change names in the future, but we'll see how that goes. You'll notice in the Scenes folder now that's created that right there. And that is an actual asset. So this scene is now an asset. We're able to manipulate this in a lot of different ways, play around with it, and do what we need to. So in the next tutorial, which should come fairly soon, we're going to deal with some more settings which will enable us to really get to grips with Unity using both hands, keyboard and mouse at the same time. And we'll also deal with things like textures and materials. So we'll make the game look a little bit more than just a bland cube in the middle of our scene. So guys, I hope you stick around, and I hope this isn't going to be too slow for you who maybe know a little bit of Unity. I want to try and bring something new to every single tutorial. That's why I need you guys to comment what you would like to see for this Resident Evil series. So don't forget that subscribe button. That's there for you to keep up to date with this series. You're able to see everything that comes, as well as many other tutorials that I do on my channel. And I'm hoping that this series will be one of the best. If you want to have a little look at what we're aiming for in this series, I did a couple of videos not too long ago, like a test. And also the thumbnail for this series is some genuine stuff within the series that we're going to use. So it will look a little bit like what the thumbnail does for this series. So guys, until that next tutorial, get to grips with Unity, and I will see you there. Thank you very much for watching.